We just got the.
You tell you about the action.
Right,
Welcome everybody here today for our speed limit hearing. Welcome all staff and elected members, Tracy and Taylor. We will start off with declaration of interest, make sure there's loads any interest they have. And we will listen to our submitters and then we will go into reports with the staff after that. So if we have guys, quiet still, is it?
Yeah.
What would you like to be, since you're the only ones here, you must be first to do your submission. So welcome, come up to the table, sit around here or stand at the end, and we've got 5 minutes, but I'm sure we won't penalise your time that you're making mistakes, you're our future leaders. There you go. You're welcome.
Well, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come and present to you today. Kia ora, Chris Rob Tatuinua. I'm an elected member of the High School Board of Trustees. In my second term there, I've got 3 kids, 2 who attend high school and 1 at Dunstan High School. And I'm joined here by 4 student representatives from Hyde School. So we have Marco, Gus, Violet, and Neb, Sophie, sorry. Whilst we as a board support the proposed 30-kilometre speed limits, we'd like to see this extended to include the intersections of Sunderland and Fraser Streets, and also the Sunderland Whitby Hartley Road intersection. These intersections are extremely difficult for the kids to negotiate at the best of times, but our anecdotal observations are that traffic levels are increasing, caused partly by heavy traffic restrictions in the historic precinct, so that heavy traffic diverting around down Blythe Street or Sunderland Street. The continued success of both the rail trail and the Dunstan Trail, and quite proving to be a popular tourist destination. Also adding to the congestion is detours that have been made as infrastructure improvements are made to the township. We believe that traffic levels are likely to increase due to commercial developments down in the historic precinct and the increasing occupancy at the retirement village at the south end quad and in the subdivision, Sunderland Park subdivision. Currently a teacher escorts the students to the Hartley Road, Sunderland, Whitby Street intersection at the end of the day, but this is only for a short amount of time, and it doesn't allow for the kids when they come to school or for extended periods after school when that area is used for a lot of school practices and kids that are using the school facilities and for recreation. It also, a large percentage of our roll lives on the north side of Sunderland Street, so they do have to cross that area. But now I'd like to invite our kids to.
Yeah, we're from Clyde School, and we're here because we would like to change the speed limit around our school to change to 30 miles per hour. We also want this to include the 5-way intersection on Sunderland Street.
We think that it is dangerous because cars are zooming around the corner. The little children are not able to see these cars.
One time, me and Gus were crossing the street. It was real clear. We were in the middle of the road. A big massive truck came around. We had to sprint back and we got little problems.
Children that are younger than 5 can leave their parents, as their parents might be talking to other parents or on their cell phone. I see it happening a lot. Once they are on the road, the parents see them and rush to get them.
Big trucks come from Alex to the forest where they drop food off, we come back and take a shortcut by our school. It is very dangerous for many people coming into our school and nearly getting whipped by these trucks.
Speed limit needs to come down to 30 kilometers per hour because many cars are now electric and we can't hear them so easily. The 5-way intersection is dangerous. Thank you for hearing from us today.
Very good. No, thank you very much for that, because our job, as you can see, is to take all the information we've got from the staff and from the government and from you guys, and to try to make the right decision for everyone. So thank you very much for giving up your time. And we'll definitely be seeing around, we've all got kids, we kids as well, some with we kids and others. So definitely thanks for your time, and we'll make some decisions and bring it back to council next meeting. Well, there's a question, Tracy had a question?
So kids, in your opinion, do you think that it's the cars or the trucks, the big trucks that are causing more problems for you?
Trucks.
The big trucks? And when you say big truck, what do you mean by a big truck? Like a,
Like the food trucks,
okay.
like the ones that would go to the Clydesdale Square
Okay.
and like drop off. Yeah.
Okay.
They also, the trucks, the fruit trucks that are coming down to Queenscliff also have to come up around that corner now as well.
Okay.
We are able to look down through town and across.
Yeah. Is that just pending the development that's going on at the moment, or are they?
That's a question.
No, it's constant because the historic, because the precinct's now closed to heavy vehicles.
Okay. Any more questions, Pam?
No, thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
for your time.
Well done. Have a good day at school.
Submitters, it must be doing. Any other submitters in the public?
Yeah, just everything,
Any online?
just getting them on.
Okay.
Good. Does that run into extension? Precinct being shut,
Yeah.
waiting with the cash over.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reasonable terms. Oh, hey, so I'm here from CDC. Do you want to just speak over the phone? That'll be the easy way. I've got your graphic for the screen. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. All right, Tim Blumenbell.
Welcome, Tim.
Oh, hang on. Speaker.
Welcome, Tim, and I guess we fire away, you've got 5 minutes of your presentation, and we'll like to hear what you say.
And I had things I wanted to say about that. So, obviously I live in the area, like I said, I'm close to that. It's not put up in the map. Bring that on a screen, I think. I really want to indicate that it's being 15 kilometres an hour through the village. Hopefully my amateur marker of that map sense of pin locations, pin locations for 30 kilometres an hour and then some 15. One good one village. And the rationale for that basically is I kind of view that strip as a pedestrian walkway that happens to have cars running through it rather than the road destined for long. Obviously, and the rationale for that is if you're probably quite familiar with it, I'm assuming, the pub, you step off the footstep of the pub and you're right onto the road, basically. Which obviously has some issues, which the director stated. The other thing to consider is that St Bethans is, for the most part, a tourism destination and a heavily photographed one at that. And often you have tourists wandering down that stretch of the village there, as if it were a glorified footpath, taking photographs, spotting all the historical building sites. So really, I view that road, that bit of road at least as a mixed-use space, and based on that, I think it really can only be 15 kilometres per hour as a maximum. I don't see that as causing any disruption to the wider community. It's probably a thoroughfare road, there's no through traffic really going through there from one point to another. Most people that enter St Bethans come past the old section via campground and then sort of do it, once they explore St Bethans, often turn around and go back. You don't really get much traffic going the whole way through because it's counterproductive really in terms of time. So I don't see much downside. I would, in lieu of never being any footpaths put in, and I would probably advocate that never happen because it would destroy the character of the village. I think it's just left as is, but with that reduce speed limit and then down to 30 from his own starts. It might have been a bridge to the main end, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's the house that the property that we own is one of the ones that's right in the village. It's like a shed, but it's not. It's quite something else. But we often have people photographing that standing literally in the middle of the street, photographing that, and many of the others. It's kind of, for me, it's only a matter of time before something terrible happens, and it probably wouldn't necessarily be with an adult. It'll be young kids. The pub's got the little amazing outdoor seating directly across the street, so it's really like it needs to be viewed as a driveway, really, or a footpath that cars drive down. Happy to take any questions.
Anyone got any questions?
Yeah, Tim, Tracy Patterson here. Hi there. Hey, just wondering, obviously we didn't go out with we haven't gone out to the community with a 15 kilometre an hour. That wasn't an option. So I appreciate you taking your time to come and do that. So we did, obviously we've gone out to the community with a 30k option. So that's something there's a technical side to that. However, what have you given any thought to the potential, and this is only just while I'm sitting here thinking on the fly, about traffic calming measures that would possibly work in that scenario to naturally reduce people's speed through there? Because I was up there a week ago and people were driving very slowly through there. Yeah, traffic calming measures. So that's putting in things to actually slow traffic down. What that would be is that would have to come under technical advice. But there's chicanes that are used in other areas of New Zealand, and there's speed humps and things like that.
times and probably presented in a way that didn't look modern. I think, yeah, putting in, you know, like speed bumps or a sort of a chicane would really not be in keeping with the asset that village is. But I appreciate the option for sure. I think, you know, most decent people understand a speed restriction or a slowdown, you know, an adjustment to speed, and would take notice of that. So in terms of the community, I actually just rang around yesterday because I only really thought of the 15. The adjustment to my original presentation, and they were highly supportive of dropping it to 15. These are people that have properties right in the village. They in fact, they said they would have never asked for 15 because they thought there was no way in hell they would ever come through, but they said it makes them absolute sense that it's 15 kilometres an hour through that village for the reasons that I've outlined.
Very good. Any other questions? No, thank you very much, Tim. I live myself not far away from St Athens and spend a fair bit of time there. So both Tracy and I probably, it's not far from where we are, so I understand. There's also other people that in other parts of the year, I think people do travel through it rather slowly, but the two options we're looking at today is the 50 and the 30. But we'll definitely keep that in mind. So thank you very much for your phone call. It's 50 now. All the way through. We won't have any indication of what speed the people are going to do we? Everything on the 15k,
But we do, like our traffic counters do actually pick up speed. So yeah.
But only within a 10-kilometre band, so unless someone's going over 60, you kind of can't categorically say that they're not doing 51.
yeah. It's one of those city towns, a bit like Clyde, isn't it? With the way it's congested, people do go slowly anyway. But 30 would be any. If they, have got any more than Wayne?
I just to say that the brass community group only two, that support the lower, like they wanted at least 30 and lower if they could get it, so it was similar to what their guys. I mean, it's because the pub, it's because the pub get down onto the road.
Yeah, just coming. Next one. We're having some joining the meeting online issues. A couple of them.
I think he's right, it's quite mixed use there as opposed to a road, isn't it? And people do stopping and photographing and. I go spend. Yeah, we all have. No matter how many times you go up, there's always someone who needs a picture taken. So you stand in the road and take a picture for them.
Yeah, and the outdoor area across the road from the pub, there's people walking back. And
Well, that's the only big garden we've got. But I think just because of the nature of the road and the nature of the town, people are really slowly moving. Whether we need to take, 30s, probably any gods in the I would suggest.
Yeah.
And then realise that some of the farmers and some of the people use the road 5 or 6 or 7 times a day. And 15k she can walk quicker than that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of contractors and trucks in and go through there.
Most deep ones will be going faster than that too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch out for me.
Yeah.
Sorry?
E-bikes.
Definitely.
If it's okay to address the chair from this end, one more things that one of the tools that was there for or is there for speed management is the Whakatahi Mega Maps system that some of us have access to. This one in particular, so one of the bits of data that they did give us was average speeds on all the way they divide up the road sections. That's not the same way that council divides up the road sections. And what you had in St Athens was at the northern end of town, average operating speeds were 43 k's an hour. And as you go past the pub, that does actually drop to 29. And then as you go, let's say we're carrying on that way, going up the hill onto the gravel, that was 66. Whereas on the seal, you're right up there. Seal as you come into St Athens is 85. And I would say anecdotally, one of the things that I'd seen was it's a very people slow down very hard approaching from the seal into St Bathans. They come around that corner, even though the corner forces them to slow a bit, the slowing really happens on that unofficial town boundary.
Yeah. And going out, they'll be noticing there's a hill there, in human nature, the speed up to go up the hill, I can see it.
Yeah,
And there's nothing other than the post office on the top side going out, and then you have to gravel, and then you probably only go 60, 70 k's up that hill anyway.
and it would be interesting. I couldn't tell you how far they've taken that average. Often they're sectioning of unsealed roads.
So effectively, that information's told us 29 kilometres an hour is what they go through the town after they slow down.
29 kilometres right at the core of town is what that average drivers do. So that data comes from TomTom GPSs, but I've always been told that includes Apple Maps because that's who provides it. So in fact, it's everyone who's using an iPhone as their GPS is collecting.
It's not bad if you shift the level out, where they slow down a bit earlier. Good.
It's great, actually.
Right. Welcome. You've got 5 minutes and give us your presentation.
Clearly, it's your roading day, I suspect. Firstly, thank you. I feel a little bit inadequate representing all of Molyneux Estate, but 2 years ago, we sent you a document of how many residents in Molyneux Estate actually signed the petition, hoping for a reduction of the speed limit from the 70k area outside the Molyneux entrance exit. So really for the residents, there are three main concerns: getting in and getting out when traffic is flowing. And if you're sitting there waiting, you know that the traffic isn't doing 70 kilometres an hour. We hear the trucks doing their air braking and slowing down, and by the time they get to the entrance, maybe doing 70. So it's a concern, especially for elderly folk. The other concern that they have is that when they're teaching their young people coming out of Molyneux Estate, they're saying quickly accelerate because you're in the 70k area. 4 seconds later, they're saying, whoa, whoa, slow down, we're in a 50k area. So those teenagers are nervous, like, what do I do, what do I do? The other major issue that most elderly folk are finding is that approaching Molyneux Estate from the town end, there's a very long medium strip. And then there's the arrows to turn into Henderson Drive and Molyneux Estate. There's conflicting thoughts here. Some people think that you're not allowed on that median strip until you get to the arrow to turn. Some elderly folk have followed that rule and they've stayed on the outside lane. And just as they're about to come into people have overtaken them because they're in a 70k area. It's a stupid, dangerous. Boy, the old folks that have had heart moments of that. Other people believe that actually you should be on that medium strip until you get to the turn. And I think that's what the NZTA rules are if you're sitting your licence, etc. So we know that this council recognises difficult areas, like you've lowered the restriction on Dunstan Road. And we think that's a marvellous idea what you've done there. And simply asking that you use your weight and confidence of knowing the area well to talk to NZTA. We recognise you, as you know, and pointed out to State Highway 8, you have no jurisdiction literally, but we know that they hear you. So we're just trying to reiterate, if you would consider shifting the 50k boundary just a little bit more to take in the entrance exit of Molyneux Estate and maybe dump the 70k's out. That's bigger decisions than us, but 70% of Molyneux Estate 2 years ago signed that. There's now 30 more homes. I suspect another 30 more homes to go again. So yeah, thank you for just hearing the concerns of the good ratepayers there who respect and value what you're doing.
Any questions, guys?
Yeah, I guess the only thing is the comment of the air brakes. And I know there is no signage out there, but some smaller towns, they do have signage up that says, please, trucks, no air brakes. So I don't know whether that might be something, whether that's
not just the trucks, it's the cars, everything coming in. If there was a speed camera there, everybody would slow down.
Yes.
You could put a box up and pretend to be a speed camera and everyone slowed down. But yeah, it's just they're not stopping the 70k and coming in at 70k. They're starting to de-accelerate from 100 at 70k. By the time they get to Molyneux Estate entrance, probably then they're doing something really hard to gauge. You know, are they coming in quicker than I can pull out, or and then they're on your bum, just sort of eyeing you through their windscreen. But for the elderly folk, it's a nerve-wracking experience. Yeah, so
do agree that there is, people get to the 70 and then they start breaking from
Yeah.
100, and the increase in the number of houses accessing that intersection coming in and out will be a challenge that's worth highlighting
Yeah.
for NZTA
Mm,
to think about going forward into the future.
Brilliant.
And you're going to get busier.
Exactly.
No, thank you very much.
Thanks, team.
Thanks, Graham.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Billy Marsh. is next.
Hey.
Billy Marsh is the next.
Billy, welcome.
Hi.
You've got 5 minutes to tell us all your
All
woes, and then we'll have questions if you've got any other questions. And,
Okay,
there you go.
I'll read it. Make the picture straight. Right, Tēnā. I'm Billy Marsh. I live on Bowman Road, and this road connects to the southern end of Murray Point Road. So it's Murray Point Road will be my focus. Our family would like the current temporary speed limit for 60 kilometres per hour to be made permanent. You're all aware probably that we've had a temporary 60 kilometre per hour speed limit and a no through heavy traffic signs up. We do not support the proposed 80 kilometre hour speed restriction for Murray Point Road. Firstly, we would like to acknowledge the previous roading manager, James McCullum, and current manager, Paul Fleet, for their support and efforts to improve the condition of Murray Point Road to make it safer. It is greatly appreciated by the residents of Murray Point Road. There is a comprehensive file on the issues that residents have, the residents' concerns in regards to Murray Point Road. So council have that file and hopefully you will be familiar with it. So why a 60 kilometre per hour speed limit? Murray Point Road has become a shortcut, a popular shortcut that will cut 3 kilometres off your journey. So it's no longer just a residence road, it's a shortcut. Waka Kotahi and the NZTA have provided a safe and sealed highway on State Highway 8 and State Highway 8A. However, motorists are choosing the gravel and dust of Murray Point Road because it saves them time and 3 kilometres worth of fuel. The residents of Murray Point Road have no choice but to use this busy, dusty and dangerous road. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the fact it's a shortcut. If it was a residence road, it would be fine. We would have no issues, but because it's a shortcut and a lot of traffic use it, we've got data that shows the numbers. The other point that's a concern is that CODC struggles to maintain Murray Point Road in good condition. After grading, the road deteriorates rapidly with the number of vehicles, truck and trailer units, and the speed of vehicles. We suffer flying stones, blinding dust, giant potholes, shake your car to bits corrugations, and punctures on the sharp rocks. It's a straight road which encourages motorists to go fast. And for this reason, it's important that the road is well maintained. So the proposed 80 kilometre speed limit. So who's travelling faster than 80 k's? I looked at the traffic count data to find out. In total, we have 6 traffic counts conducted in 2019, 2020 and 2021, and 3 in 2022. That was when James was using as much data as he could for Waka Kotahi's visit. So what I found out was quite interesting is that the busiest months are of course the summer months on Murray Point Road, December, January and probably March. The highest speeds are in winter. So if you're 80 plus, in May, 41% of the traffic was going over 80, in June, 46% of the traffic, and in April, 42% of the traffic over 80. But in December, only 28% over 80, January 28%, and March 25%. And the lowest speed, so I thought, who's going under 60? Once again, in May, it was less. And in December, I didn't put the percentages. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Never mind. But in winter, the lower speeds rise. So there's not as many people travelling slowly. And I figure, and I think I'm right, it's to do with the road surface. So winter, the road is much smoother. It's really quite nice in winter. There's no dust. The gravel seems to disappear down and it's quite smooth. Whereas in summer, it's gravelly, it's dusty, and the rocks all appear. So that's why it's important the road is well maintained. If you're going to have an 80k limit, it needs to be really well maintained, because people will speed on the smoother roads to make it safer. So, thanks to Paul Fleet, we have experienced the 60 km/h speed limit and no heavy through traffic. So I'm afraid there's no going back. We feel it's made a noticeable improvement in the road surface, and it doesn't seem to deteriorate as rapidly and stays in good condition for longer. And we'd be interested to hear from the roading manager if he's finding the same thing. And the other thing is, most importantly, we know what 60 kilometres looks like, and it's easy to spot the speedsters. And what happens to speedsters? Well, I know one of my neighbours flashes his lights and waves his arms frantically when he sees somebody coming towards him. And if your vehicle has a company name on it, your boss is likely to receive a phone call to remind you of the 60 km/h speed limit, and that's been quite effective. So we know what 60 looks like. We can recognise what vehicles look like when they're travelling 60. We feel at 80 it will be much harder. You won't be waving at people who are travelling 80. So 60 means 80. Not everyone keeps to the speed limit. I travel at 60 k's on Mary Point Road, and yet I'm constantly overtaken. So if 60 means 80, then 80 will mean 100. So what we need Murray Point Road to be safe for residents. We need it to be well maintained. We need a real deterrent to make Murray Point Road not so attractive as a shortcut to be taken at speed. We need a speed limit that will not destroy a gravel road. And we need a speed limit that can be enforced. And we really would need a 60 km/h speed limit. And ngā mihi. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Billy. Any questions? Tony?
I just wondered how long you had lived at Murray Point Road, or just off Murray Point Road.
29 years.
And has it always been a popular shortcut, or have you noticed a dramatic increase in the last?
Increase as the whole district, everything's. When we first went there, our daughters were at primary school, and they would on their bikes go up Murray Point Road and up the Argyle. Perfectly safe. Now not, probably in the last 10 years not. You know, nobody bikes Murray. I don't bike Murray Point Road. Put my bike in the car and go somewhere and then take it off. But yes, it's definitely increased.
Yeah.
But to be fair, looking at the data, it's actually over those last 3 years, it's actually stayed quite steady.
Yeah.
But Paul was going to put a road count out after it had been graded, but it hasn't been done. So it'd be interesting to see what the traffic's doing now, post-COVID.
Yeah, because there's quite a wide road reserve through there, but none of it's sort of maintained as an informal cycle track.
No,
really, is it?
No.
Nobody sort of mows along the front of their property.
No. It's a country road. There's no houses, or actually only one house is
close to the road. Yeah.
We are getting a cycleway though, so perhaps we'll use that instead.
Absolutely.
No.
Questions? Yes.
Yeah, I guess just one question, and I appreciate that you've come to us with an alternative, but we've gone out to, with this, submit the community with a potential reduction to 80. Can you tell me, so, and I respect that your submission, among others, have said you don't support the reduction to 80. So but if you had a choice, would you support a reduction to 80, or would you rather leave it at 100 and come and ask us to come back?
I think you know the answer to that from what I've said.
Okay, so you're
Any
saying that you would, so you would prefer no reduction?
No, any reduction is better.
Okay.
Yeah, but we would like 60 because 80 will be 100 and we're no better off.
I live on a dirt road.
Yes.
And so does Stu,
Yes.
and Tony used to.
Yes.
So, I do appreciate, and you are correct about, you know, you do travel faster in the winter because
Yes.
you do not, you have better visibility.
Yes, yeah.
So,
But it's a through road and it takes a lot of state highway traffic.
Yeah.
You know, that's the rub.
Yeah.
Is that there's a perfectly, like a Kotahi provided, a perfectly good road and the traffic that they're catering for is not using it. And the ceiling, which is another issue, is, you know, it is the state highway cars that are using the road, a council road, and yet Waka Kotahi will not give funding for it. So, you know, I'm quite happy to block it off in the middle.
And I guess one of the questions I'd have is how much of this has happened since the GPS has come in as a shortcut route? And is there an ability for us to take it off the GPS as a farm track type system where they keep them routed on the state highway? And that's in our corner, in the Minnetonka, the tankers are the same problem because they go shortest route with the milk tanker. And it takes it down roads that we can't maintain to the level that they need to be. And it has come up several times about tar sealing and talking about that, but once again, it's a state highway issue that we're having to deal with. But like Tracy said, we're dealing with today 80 to 100.
Yeah.
And it
Maybe
does,
you can talk about that too.
yeah,
The concern that has been raised before is what happens when you're funneling traffic on that road to those intersections where it joins the state highway, because they're not in particularly safe areas.
No.
To come off of.
And you're right about the GPS because I sit at the southern end of Mary Point Road waiting for the school bus and cars will come up on, it's sealed, and then they hit the gravel and they stop. And they wait a wee bit, some will turn around, people with boats on trailers come up, stop, and then, so it's leading them, you're quite right.
yeah, and that's the problem with runners, technology is taking people the shortest route and had a. But never mind, let's our drive to go through these things, but thank you very much for your time and coming to take time back to come and talk to us.
Yeah, right, thank you. Oh, if you make it 80, we want it sealed.
And are you looking for a full
it comes up.
brakes increase on that?
No, and then it's the traffic, it's a vexed issue, it is a vexed issue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
James Darcy.
James Dyson.
Right, welcome, James. Here's all the floors, all yours. We've got 5 minutes and questions after that.
Well, so my submission was on Cornwall South, Pearson Road, Sandflat Road and Bannockburn Road. I've lived here for 20 plus years now. I live and work in this area. Drive on Pearson, Sandflat every single day. My yard's there and on Bannockburn Road as well. Those roads are characterised by being straight, having unobstructed visibility, and a very low, as far as I'm aware, record of accidents. I don't understand the imperative or the need dropping them from 100 kilometres an hour to 80 kilometres an hour is going to unnecessarily restrict and create issues as far as productivity is concerned. I'm not aware of any safety issues that are associated with those roads that require them to drop from 100 kilometres an hour down to 80 kilometres an hour, and I don't support the reduction of those speed limits at all. This is the second time this has been proposed. I'm not aware of any additional information that's provided as to why that's required. And the roads are safe, and if there are any corners on the northwestern end of Pearson Road, there are hazard signs that are adequate for that. The second part of my submission related to the school zones, specifically Cromwell College. I do support a variable speed limit, which is a 50-30, depending on the time of day when the school kids are entering or exiting the school. It is a straight piece of road, but the parking's pretty horrendous, and there are no fences on the edge of Cromwell College between that and Barry Avenue. So having an ability during school hours for dropping off or picking up kids when they're coming or going from school, I would definitely support the extent on the map into Clare, Carlo, Mayo, Enniscorn and Barry Avenue of dropping those speed limits down during that time. So 50 during normal times and 30 during those specific times. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, James. Questions?
Yeah, James, Tracy Patterson here. How you going?
Good, thank you.
Just in relation to the Bannockburn side, you know, the Bannockburn Road side and Pearson Road. So with your yard being on there, so you're just so we're really clear, you are 100% happy that your TAN can exit and entry without any issue whatsoever from your yard or and along that road, those roads.
There is fabulous visibility along both directions, and there is no issue with entering or exiting either the yards. The only issue, and I'm aware that Belden Muller has actually offered this to the council, is to give her some of the land of the intersection between Sandflat Road and Pearson Road, where there's a 45-degree angle, if you put the map up, that people tend to drive straight onto Pearson Road, having a look over their right shoulder, and I've done this myself, and then go onto Pearson Road towards the intersection of Pearson and Bannockburn. And if someone's passing on that road, that can be unsafe. So changing that from a 45-degree intersection to a 90-degree intersection would make that a lot safer. We've got a similar issue on the northern end of Sandflat Road. On the exit of that onto the Waka-Kataki roads, there's a power pole on the left-hand side of there, which massively obstructs visibility. And that's a super dangerous thing, but neither of those have got anything to do with speed limits. They're just safety to do with how those intersections actually operate.
Yeah, cool. And there's Tam.
No, thank you, James.
Right, thank you very much.
Thanks, James. Let me do right in. Okay. Rose Rebel.
Rose, welcome.
Thank you.
Straight in.
We're good to go.
Yeah,
Thank
you. Go. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rosemary Riddell, and I'm speaking to application for change of speed limits at one end of the village and a shifting at the other. So first of all, at the north end of Otilihua, there is 100 k's until you come to the corner of Hills Creek Road and the main road, which is Ida Valley Onakau Road. And at that point, there is now a 70k sign. Then you go past the domain, the swimming pool, 7 houses, and you come to the 50k sign, which is partway already in the village. And what we are asking for at the Hills Creek Road intersection, to have the speed limit changed to 50, which marks the start of the village. And as I said, there's the domain, across the road there's the swimming pool, there are a number of houses, and we're asking for the 50k sign to apply from that point, with the proviso that 200 metres before that, there is a sign advising people 50 Ks in 200 metres. So that's what we're asking for at that end of the village. That's the north end. At the south end of the village, as you are leaving, there's a 100K sign, and it's in the same place, obviously, as you approach. We're not asking for that to be shifted or changed. We're only asking for a sign 200 metres up the road as you're approaching from the south end, a warning sign that you'll have to slow down to 50 Ks in 200 metres. So that's just re-emphasising that you're approaching what is a small village, but that's what we'd like. Now, there's a number of reasons why we're asking for these changes. Won't take me very long to explain what they are. First of all, we have more people living in the village than we had when you had the original signs up. Houses have been built, the swimming pool is in use, the domain is in constant use. It has some toilet facilities that people stop at. And so the village really does start just near the point where the little church is as you come from Rancoon. So with the increased number of people and more houses, we think it's time for a review. The second reason we're asking for a change is because we have the domain, the toilet facilities and the swimming pool in use. And in summer, there are a lot of families walking down through the village. There are children walking on their own to the swimming pool, and they are effectively walking in a 70K area, which some people take a lot of time to adjust to, so they can easily come into the village and they're still going 100 Ks, as we found. So with the rail trail folk and the families walking along the side, that's the second reason. The third reason is, and it's one of those I told you so, there was an accident in the very middle of Oturihua. You could say the middle consists only of the pub on one side and the general store on the other, and a car coming from the south didn't take any notice of the change from 100 Ks to 50 and slammed into someone in the middle of the village with injuries, quite significant injuries. We say if there had been a sign further up warning people in 200 Ks you'll need to slow down, that could have changed everything. And the fourth reason, and I alluded to before, there are a lot of rail trailers in the area. While most of them are on the rail trail, thankfully, many of them are not. Many of them bike up and down the village, and it's dangerous to have a 100K sign at the near the north end of the village, near houses, accommodation resort. Anyone cycling through the village should still be in a 50K limit. So that's my submissions. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
Questions?
Wonderful, thank you.
Hope it's clear. Thanks very much. Yes.
As probably the closest neighbour you've got, is that a lot of people have been wanting that 50K zone or 70K to go to Hayes.
We did, and we discussed this at length. I'm the chair of our little local community group, and we appreciated having you at the group. Yes, a lot of people wanted that, but we thought that there was not likely to be any enthusiasm for pushing the out past Hayes. So in the end, I don't come here with a mandate for that. Frankly, many of us would love to see it pushed out because there are rail trailers that come from across the road to Hayes and they have to cross the main road, and they're crossing a 100K road at that point. So if it were pushed out beyond Hayes, we would be delighted. But as I say, Rebecca's always at our meetings, and the discussion about that was they didn't think the council would wear it. Is that an accurate? Yeah.
The community did indicate the majority of people wanted it, one or two that don't, but,
yeah.
But it's over their safety at the Hayes crossing that they're the most concerns about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason we shifted it originally, because it comes to the community board first before it comes to here, is at the top end, the play centre was at the domain.
Oh, that's at the other end.
Yeah, it's at the other end, the play centre was there. That's why we changed it originally for the play centre.
Was that what it was?
That's
To
correct.
70.
Because, and then of course you have the likes of the transport will say, well, you know, you're slowing down everything, and there's always that, and it's about the whole continuity of the network. We don't look at as much as.
Sure.
So thank you very much, Rose.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you all. Bye. Thanks a lot, Sarah. I'll make my way up. Yeah, thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Very good.
She likes it, well,
I'm not sure. I went to the car crash, and maybe it was speed wasn't out in the car crash, but it might have been going by for the road up a wee town. And the other person put the waste into their rubbish bins, indicating the border cross. That was the first there. Wasn't ideal either.
no, wasn't ideal at all. They just didn't even.
Well, they picked that people up apart from them for, it's great, it was in our opinion, then we, staying around, and that gets walking. Before that.
Yeah, she's still. It's going down to see. And she. Oh, no, that's pretty.
Do we move, mate? Was that us?
I will, be getting Wally on the phone.
Perfect.
What?
I mean, that's always a challenge, isn't it? Because one accident all of a sudden speed, but you don't know the alternative factor of the speed. And you keep pushing out and out and out. You do that whole week.
You end up with on a ridge.
Yeah, you do. And that gets us much frustration. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the government builds a, bypass, driveway road to.
Okay, I'll put you on speaker, if you're ready to go.
Right. But just that, especially since.
Do
Go
it.
down the main
Yeah,
road.
pick up the other day last night.
Goes from on the road.
Oh, I'm not, welcome. Do you want to get back over one of those statements beforehand? Great.
That is good.
Right, can you hear us right?
Fantastic.
Okay, cool, I'll put you on
And she
speaker.
has lots of fantastic friends that still. Yeah.
All right, Wally Sanford.
Welcome, Wally. You have Tamer and Tracy here and stuff, so fire away and give us your submission.
Actually, first I'll just check that there's no proposal to reduce any speed limits within Peas and Orange villages there. Is it proposed to remain at 50 k's now? Someone confirm that?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Right. James Dicey was saying before with some speed limit reduction seem a bit overkill around the district, but then for near on 10 years, the Peas and Orange community's dealt with various roading managers about getting the speed limit reduced around Peas and Orange. This is before Paul's time. I'm talking Murray Hasler, James McCallum, and then the interim roading managers. We're always told that it's an NZTA issue and NZTA are working on it next year. Next year never came, and somehow this has fallen through the cracks where we've got 40k speed limits and new developments in Cromwell where the roads have been designed a lot safer than they have been in Peas and Orange, yet Peas and Orange is still fallen through the cracks for something like a 40k speed limit. I guess that's essentially my submission, is that Peas and Orange has been missed. Open to ideas as to why or any discussion, or if you got any questions for me, then just fire away.
Yeah, I can probably help you there. At the last hearings, there was talk of discussion about footpaths. And that whether there was a look at the legal speed limit the same and having understanding when the development of Peas and Orange was done, the footpaths were not put in on some of the road reserves, and there was discussion whether we looked at footpaths, and I thought that came up in their long-term plan not long ago, whether we looked at that, didn't we? Is that right? Yeah. Yep. So it was more so rather than just it was about the footpaths and Peas and Orange being put back in, or in any future developments and having footpaths attached to the roading network rather than the speed. And there's been a bit of an appetite to keep the speed the same. But that's my understanding why it's probably as much about the footpathing as the speed at the moment. And the only one we got was Clark Road, but we went for 80 from 100 to 80, didn't we, in the last speed limit hearings? 40,
Oh,
It's a year on
60 here, the last.
50
Yeah,
years.
I think last
It was
time
100
we dropped
last year because Bob Perriam spoke down to 80.
So I can answer that. There was, it wasn't considered, but there was submissions relating to that, and we couldn't make that change because it wasn't a consultation item, so that's why it's been included this time around.
But was it from 100 to 80 in the last one or 160?
No, it wasn't considered.
Is that right, Quentin?
Sorry, I missed that.
It wasn't on the items last time, but is that what Bob Cannon spoke to, was that he wanted to see it?
Correct,
Come
correct,
down.
reduced, yes.
And that's why it's on this. Do you remember if he asked for 80 or for 60?
Not off the top of my head, sorry. I'd have to go back and have a look.
Do you remember everything?
Anyone else got any questions for Wally?
Yeah, Wally, Tammy here. Just wondered, are you meaning all of Plaza Moorings or specifically the area around the marina or the other area that's a bit more residential?
You there, Wally? Who's calling Wally?
Are you there, Wally? I wonder if the sound's disappeared.
Yeah. Okay, we've got the idea there pretty much, didn't we? What they're looking at these meters. Is that still an issue we can look at some stage? What path?
That was, but was.
We'll have a discussion about
There
it.
are in the new part, aren't there? Just not in the original.
Yeah, that's the case.
Believe so, yeah.
So I can answer that. So yeah, it's the original development or relatively newer development has required footpath to be installed. So it is largely that older area, more of that further inside the development extent. It is considered and will be considered as part of the long-term plan process, but that has to be weighed up against other roading priorities and other council budgets for consideration. We did have it priced at approximately $1.4 million to fully do the footpaths within that development. So it is quite a substantial investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Are you back, Wally?
Yeah, I think there's a massive lag on. It's really confusing.
Joy. I just, that Plaza Moorings, is there a particular area that is worse than others that you're talking about? Just recognising that some of those around sort of Missy Crescent, some of the other areas, the roads are quite narrow and there is a lot of traffic and
Yes.
parked cars.
What I caught from Stu's comment about the footpaths with new developments is quite relevant here. So, I'm talking about the entire development, but where the new vineyard development was, we named developments after what was there, not what is there. So the vineyard development, that had footpaths attached to it, but it's also got the bog standard council cross section of road design. So that's really dangerous. It's 8.5 metres, which allows for parking on one side, but inherently you get parking on both sides, and it's a cluster. And it's also straight, so people hone down there well over 50 at times. Not everyone, but it's a terrible road layout. And then it's quite poles apart down Ferry Lane where it's quite bendy with no footpaths. So they've both got the same problem, even though they're completely different road layouts.
Yeah.
Stratford Drive has an operating limit of around about 50, and Ferry Lane has an operating limit of something like, I would guess, 35 to 40, but people still do 50 because they can.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is an absolute safety issue that I'm bringing this up for.
Thanks, Wally. Any other questions, Trace? No? Right, thanks, Wally. We'll go through that and we'll definitely keep in touch.
So I'll just follow up on what QP was saying. I missed most of that. Cheers.
No,
Cheers.
right. Technology, a bit of a lag, eh?
Right, that is.
Got it?
Speakers, yeah.
That's all the speakers. Thank you very much. Right. What do we do now? Go back to the bit
Yeah.
more bit, we'll be having a break, we're happy to keep going, second.
You could take a bit of a break if you want to take a break.
Through that? Yeah, well, 12 minutes, coffee, chat.
Paul,